World News 3 halves. American newspapers are pessimistic about Bakhmut. Leopard 1 is about to dock in Kiev. China's steadfast path of peaceful development, Turkey's criticism of the West for doing one thing, are some of the notable international news in the past 24 hours. Russia-Ukraine. Bloomberg, Ukraine may soon withdraw its troops from Bakhmut. Western media cite some intelligence sources as saying that the Ukrainian Armed Forces, VSU, have lost control of all roads leading to Bakhmut. If about 2 weeks ago the roads to Konstantinovka and Chasov Yar were still to a certain extent safe from the VSU, they are now under full or partial control of Russian forces in other regions. Together. Therefore, Bloomberg believes that it is likely that VSU will withdraw its troops from Bakhmut. According to the article, Washington recommended that Kiev withdraw its troops from Bakhmut to preserve its forces and buy time until tank aid is available. However, the article also suggested that despite the loss of Bakhmut, the Ukrainian army will be able to lay out a new line of defense to the west of the city. The withdrawal will allow the force to be preserved for the spring offensive in the south, Bloomberg said. At the same time, the article also assessed that despite capturing Bakhmut and simultaneously advancing to Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, Russian forces do not seem strong enough to capture these territories in the near future. Bloomberg. Germany grants permission to send Leopard 1 tanks to Ukraine. On February 3 in Berlin, the German government spokesman confirmed that the country had granted permission to export Leopard 1 battle tanks to Ukraine from its arsenal. However, the official did not specify the number of tanks transferred to Kiev. Earlier, the SZ, Germany, newspaper reported that defense corporations Rheinmetall and Flensburger Versuchbaugesellschaft were ready to refurbish dozens of Leopard 1 tanks to support Ukraine. Reuters. CIA identifies pivotal moment for Ukraine conflict. Speaking at an event at Georgetown University, the director of the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, William Burns said the next 6 months will be pivotal for conflict in Ukraine. He said Russia is now betting on the political fatigue of the West and it is not serious in the negotiations. Earlier, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov accused Washington of raising tensions over Ukraine and putting pressure on other countries. TASS. Southeast Asia. The U.S. and the Philippines will restart joint patrols in the South China Sea. A statement on February 2 by the U.S. Department of Defense stated that during the visit to Manila by U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, he and his host counterpart Carlito Galvez agreed to restart joint patrols in the South China Sea to contribute to addressing security challenges. Previously, the Philippines also allowed the U.S. military access to 4 bases in the strategic area of this Southeast Asian country. Under former President Rodrigo Duterte, the United States and the Philippines suspended joint patrols in the South China Sea. The move comes amid efforts by Washington and Manila to mend bilateral ties. The new administration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. want to reverse that direction. Security challenges in Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia are becoming the new impetus for the United States and the Philippines to strengthen their bilateral partnership. AFP. South Asia. Pakistan's efforts to deal with terrorism. On February 3, the Pakistani leadership and military met in Peshawar to discuss how to deal with new wave of terrorism. Opening a meeting attended by Pakistan's military and intelligence chief, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said, "The whole nation wants to know how to counter this threat and what measures can be taken. Can be done to destroy the new wave of terrorism. We will use all resources in our power to respond to this threat." Reuters. Northeast Asia. China resolutely follows the path of peaceful development. Speaking at the meeting with President of the United Nations General Assembly, UN, Session 77 Xabakorosi on February 3, Chinese Premier Li Keqiang stated, "The current international and regional environment is undergoing profound and complex changes, and China is willing to work with all parties to uphold the basic purposes and principles of the UN Charter, Adhere to international law and basic norms of international relations. Adhere to the direction of economic globalization and a multipolar world, and maintain peace and stability around the world. China will continue to actively support and participate in the work of the United Nations, strengthen coordination and cooperation in the field of sustainable development and combat climate change, and jointly deal with issues related to climate change, the Chinese premier affirmed. Global topic. No matter how the international situation changes, China will steadfastly follow the path of peaceful development, firmly adhere to the reform and opening up policy, implement a win-win strategy, and promote universal values of peace, development, honesty, justice, democracy, and freedom, develop through wide international exchange and cooperation, bring new opportunities for the development of the whole world. Sputnik. Britain and Australia want to maintain stability in the Taiwan Strait. The joint statement of the 2+2 ministerial dialogue between the UK and Australia emphasises the need to maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, encouraging resolve issues between the two sides peacefully without the threat or use of force or coercion. The defence ministers and foreign ministers of the two countries also opposed unilateral action to change the status quo and emphasised their commitment to support Taiwan, China, to participate in international organizations as guests or observers. The parties affirmed their desire to continue to tighten ties with Taipei in the fields of economy, science, trade, technology, and culture. Taiwan News. Europe. NATO urges Russia to comply with New START. On February 3, writing on Twitter, Secretary-General of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, Jens Stoltenberg affirmed, "We note with concern that Russia has not complied with legally binding obligations under New START, including the obligation to facilitate inspection activities on Russian territory, and call on Moscow to fulfill its obligations under this treaty." Reuters. German air defense missiles are ready to fight in Poland. On February 3, the Polish press reported that Germany's Patriot air defense systems here were ready to fight. According to Rzeczpospolita, Poland, Berlin has provided Warsaw with 3 Patriot POC-3 batteries to strengthen the defense of Poland's eastern border. At the same time, German air defense systems are being integrated with Polish air defense systems. This site also quotes information from the Bundeswehr, German armed forces, that 350 German soldiers have been additionally sent to Poland with Patriot missile complexes and can be increased to 650 soldiers when necessary. The move took place in the context of November 2022, a rocket crashed on the Polish border with Ukraine, killing 2 people. Polish authorities said it could be a Ukrainian anti-aircraft missile. VNA. Turkey criticized the West for temporarily closing its diplomatic mission in Ankara. On February 3, speaking to the press, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu emphasized, "The decision to close the consulates without sharing details with us is intentional. If they want to give the impression that Turkey is an unstable country that is facing a terrorist threat, then this move is not in keeping with our friendship and alliance." However, when we asked where the source was and who the culprit was, they didn't share any information with our security and intelligence agencies. He confirmed that Turkey will take additional measures in case these countries close their diplomatic missions again without sharing information. Earlier, this week, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Belgium and Switzerland temporarily closed their diplomatic missions in Turkey citing security reasons. On February 1, Turkey summoned the ambassadors of 9 Western countries to criticize the decision. Meanwhile, the country's Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu said embassies were launching a new psychological war against Turkey. Reuters. Middle East Africa. Leaders of France and Israel discuss ways to deal with Iran. On the afternoon of February 2, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu visited Paris, within the framework of his first foreign trip since returning as Prime Minister of Israel. On February 3, the Israeli Prime Minister's office said, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with French President Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders discussed at length how to deal with the Iranian nuclear threat. Prime Minister Netanyahu stressed the need to strengthen deterrence against Iran and its proxies in the Middle East. Prime Minister Netanyahu also called for the imposition of sanctions against Tehran, and the inclusion of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on the European Union's, EU, terrorist list. In addition, the two leaders discussed the regional situation and the need to maintain stability in the region, especially in Lebanon. They also mentioned opportunities to expand the circle of peace to include Israel and its Arab neighbors. TESS